What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. The AD carry meta has changed a bunch this patch, so I thought it'd be a good time to really go over the top 5 you can play. They're probably the best you can play for solo queue. We're going to go over the best in every role tomorrow, and I think rank every single AD in a video in 7.6 next week as well. Before we jump in, by the way, we're teaming up with Opinion Outpost again and giving away some RP. So basically, you take a survey in your free time, probably in queue time or champion sect instead of sitting on like Reddit or something. You get RP and gift cards for doing that, and then you get yourself a few skins or whatever you want to buy. There's a link down below to sign up. It's super simple, free to join, and that's it. I always give away some RP myself though with sponsors, so just leave a comment, like the video if you do, to win $25 of RP. I'm going to pick the winner at the weekend and I'll send you an email. So let's go. Number 5 is going to be Lucian. So the new blade finally gives him a solid build, I think. This is one of the biggest things. Crit is kind of too slow. Ghost Spade and Black Cleaver has been nerfed. It's not as good anymore. So this is a really good mix of auto and ability damage with a blade and maybe a Trinity Force. Further as well is super good on Lucian, right? You stack it really fast with your passive, it goes into your Q, your ultimate damage, even your auto attacks as well. So we're gonna pack a lot more damage into our kit. Recent buff wise, like, he feels so much more smooth now, I guess. In late game, your damage is gonna be much higher. It's a lot easier to combo as well because of it. He is really strong in the lane phase. You have autos, you have fervor, you have your ability damage, which makes him pretty well rounded. Like, you have good initial damage with your abilities and good follow up afterwards. You spike really hard with 1 and 2 items if you're gonna build a blade into something, and you're able to do more in like 4-man bot lane parties or like early Drake fights where other AD carries aren't that useful yet. Other aggressive supports are back now, which is even better. Like, Ignite is more common, so more fighting, which is exactly what Lucian wants. He can actually use his damage. Mid to late game is actually kind of hard to play though. Like, short range, you're combo reliant. If you screw up your combo, your damage is massively down. 1 and 2 items is fine, but like 3 items and then going towards your 4th, you don't really get much stronger. Like, others are going to overtake you, but then you spike back up once you get that crit. So number 4 is going to be Callista, the new Blade Ring King again. Surprisingly, it's much better for her overall. Like, mainly it's the more lifesteal, I think, plus AD, which goes into your Q and your E damage. It's also the same reason why Fervor is so insanely good on her. Like, you stack it very fast. You have to stack your rend anyway, so a big thing is you're not actually playing any differently. Like, you do the exact same, but you get more damage out of it, and it also buffs her rend damage. Ninja Tabby as well in 7.5. Like, again, it's weird, right? It's not attack speed. I mean, both work, like Berserkers or Tabby, but just for 1v1 or against like heavy AD, it's actually horrible. Like, 35% lifesteal plus reduced damage from Tabby, that is really hard to kill. Callista naturally is really good in the lane phase, like with aggressive supports as well. You can throw them in with her ultimate and pick fights, which she wins with fervor and a rend damage. Late game kiting means she's very hard to get onto and actually kill. Like, you also have a ton of lifesteal to deal with any of their damage. Ardent Sensor, Locket, Redemption. With her kiting, the extra attack speed on hit lifesteal from Sensor, like, how do you even kill her? The bad side is you're like super weak to crowd control, and mid game you're not that amazing. You don't really have the items yet to kill everybody, and she's really good early, then kind of dips mid game and then back to strong later. You also don't have high burst damage, so if a fight is over too fast, she won't really be able to do very much. So next up for solo queue is actually going to be Vayne, and just to point out, probably not at major high elo. The lethality nerfs and the game going later to start with is why she's so good at the moment. It means she can really reach like her mid to late game power spike where she is super good rather than get crushed so hard early. The blade buff is actually better for newer Vayne players or harder lanes. The lifesteal means she can survive easier, and it's also better for fighting now with more AD in the active with your tumble. The new Warlords as well is super good late game. If you get a big crit, it's a massive heal and you kite even better than you already do. So right now, you're probably one of the best late game champions actually, especially now her ultimate is true stealth. It makes it really hard to deal with in a team fight. Warlords or Fervor work well. You can pick either one. It depends on your playstyle, and she can actually survive early game with them either fighting or sitting back. Plus she transitions into crit build, which is a ton of damage. One of the major things is less poked supports. Like, it's more all in, which you can kind of stay away from, or healing, which keeps her alive. The support meta is actually always really important whether Vayne is viable or not, because if they're horrible supports to play against, then she's probably not going to be, but if they're good for her, then she will be better. Now, she can still get boned really hard by a good aggressive support and AD carry duo. That is why she might not be the best at higher elo still. If you get ganked a ton or you get pounded really hard, you might just fall too far behind. Like, Vayne's weakest area is still getting crushed really hard early. The silver spot is going to be Caitlyn, and I still think Fervor is better than Warlords on her, but both are good now. Both make her a bit stronger anyway. She's like the most versatile pick right now in 7.5. One of the best late game, but she's strong throughout the game as well. You can bully early with more aggressive lanes. You can use healers more, like free to harass more basically, and Sensor and Lulu and stuff late game is nuts. You cannot go wrong with picking Caitlyn, right? You have a strong lane, you have a decent mid game and an amazing late game, but your mid game does kind of come down to you. You as a player have to use the proper Caitlyn combos to maximize your damage. Caitlyn is not a lazy pick. You have to try hard to output proper damage in my my opinion. You have high range, you have good wave clear, you have a safe lane and traps as well to help defend or zone people away. So you actually have some utility. The bad side is your ability damage is pretty lacking actually, which makes it hard to do stuff mid game if you don't use a net and traps properly. You're also very item reliant. Like if you get behind, you won't be doing that much damage, especially if you CS like crap. Number one this patch though is going to be Twitch. So lethality was nerfed, which makes crit better overall, plus fervor works really well on him. It's the same as Kalista. There's no change to playstyle, but you're adding more damage. You stack your poison for your E anyway, you're stacking fervor at the same time, which does give you more E damage. He's the best late game AD carry you can play though, by far. You have super high range, crits from miles away, and you stack fervor faster because of his Q attack speed buff. I think his lane phase is better with fervor now, which means we have a late game champion who is decent early game. That's not a common recipe. I honestly think you probably have the highest DPS out of any champion right now. Like your ultimate is hitting more people. Like your runins, your crits, your poison, your fervor, your attack speed from Q, all of that damage, and all you have to do is press R and auto attack. It makes you very consistent, right? You're good with both healers and aggressive supports as well. Aggressive means you get fed and you snowball to your items faster, which means late game damage sooner. Healers keep him alive to farm in lane, alive in teamfights to kill everything. Like a major weakness of Twitch, right, is no mobility, but that doesn't really matter if you have someone to keep you alive and cover that up. You're also proactive, right? You roam the map, you get kills by himself with a stealth. It's not as reliant on your team as other AD carries. The only real bad thing though is you have no mobility. You can get focused pretty easily or hooked and stuff in lane and you get boned. Now just a couple of honorable mentions very quickly. So Ezreal is one of, if not the best high elo AD carry at the moment. He's really strong, he's good into any matchup and with any team comp. The issue is that he's a little weaker early and late game if you are not a good Ezreal player. If you are good with him, you're going to destroy right now, doing a lot of damage with Tabby as well, which means you're better in a 1v1 situation. But that is the thing, he's kind of like a duelist AD carry, not a traditional sit there and auto attack. Kog'Maw and Lulu is the best lane combination at the moment. It's basically free low if you can play it correctly, to the point where I will dodge if I see that on the enemy team. Kog'Maw is nuts anyway, but then you have Lulu giving him on hit damage, attack speed, shields, heals, plus more attack speed and on hit lifesteal from the Ardent Sensor. It is so broken. Jhin has kind of fallen out of favor a bit. He's decent, but lethality is not as strong right now, and the Deathfire Touch nerf actually has made his late game weaker. That is the biggest thing. When you have so much AD on Jhin, 15% is a massive nerf, honestly, and the best bet in my opinion would be to go Ghost Blade into Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge, and crit. You will not snowball as hard anymore, but you can still do a lot of damage in the lane phase. You can still fight, and you have a good team fight. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of these. Remember to check out Opinion Outpost, but for now, I'll leave you with the robots.
You're the superstar above me when the sun goes.
Just kidding, boys.